All right, welcome to our July mentor panel for girls in sports. I'm your host. I'm a volunteer with the organization, Coach Gordon, and I'm very happy, very pleased to be announcing our two very talented guests today. Abigail Johnson, track and field runner for which university are you with, Abigail?
I just graduated. I was track and field and cross country for Ferris State University in Michigan.
Wonderful. Now you're newly graduated. We're going to ask you some more about that. And from the University of Toronto, captain of the soccer team. I believe you're in your fifth year now, Miranda Badovinac, sorry.
No worries.
And so you're at the University of Toronto?
Yep, that's correct.
Fifth year this year, and are you excited about the coming year?
Oh my God, I'm so excited. It's going to be so nice to actually get back into having like a legit season and not just the occasional practice here and there. So yeah, I'm so excited.
Wow, and we're going to get into a little bit of that journey that many of us have been on the last year and a half. So we're going to dig into that a little bit more. I guess I want to ask about your stories. So from the beginning until now, can you tell us about your journey in sport? Leading up to where you are today. Abigail?
So I started out as a swimmer, swam all through like elementary school. Like that was the thing that I liked to do. And then my high school was very small, so we didn't have a swimming pool. And the nearest pool was a 20-minute drive. So I needed something to fill my free time with. And I'm not hand-eye coordinated at all. I'm not good at like regular sports with balls, and like soccer is not gonna happen for me either. So I was like, okay, I'll just like join the cross country team. I know that there's cookies at the end of the race. That was like what brought me to the sport. So I was like, well, you get like a prize when you're done. And it's only 3 miles, or yeah. And so that's what brought me to running. I just thought, why not? I don't have anything else to do with my free time.
That's great that you wanted to be involved in sports, and that's really something that we're promoting here at Girls in Sports, is that there's other sports besides team sports.
Yeah. And like cross country is still a team sport. You still have your team. You still kind of like get to make those connections with other people who are interested in the same things as you. But there's not so much pressure on like, well, if I don't perform really, really well today, like we'll still be okay because we still have like our number 6 and 7 runners that can score points.
So you get to support each other, but when it comes time to compete, it's all you. Wonderful. So just want to dig a little bit into where you come from, Abigail. So you're from Downs, Illinois?
Yes.
And just for our Canadian viewers and listeners, that you're a couple hours south of Chicago on the map, but you went to school a little further up north, about three and a half hours south of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, at a place called Ferris State. What was that like?
It was really, really good, especially because I came from such a small town in Illinois. I graduated with 86 people in high school, and then going into college, I didn't know anybody. So my sport was how I made friends. And Ferris State is also a pretty small college, so I was able to have small class sizes and kind of connect with my classmates. And I got to experience Michigan winters, which was really fun too, because I love snow.
Oh, hey, I like to hear that. That's awesome. So Ferris State is located in a place called Big Rapids, Michigan.
Yes.
And what distances did you run?
I ran anywhere from like the 800 up to a 6K. In cross country, we do a 5K or a 6K depending on the race. Once we get into like post-conference races, they're all 6Ks. And then for track, I did mostly the 3K indoors and the 5K outdoor.
You have to have a pretty strong constitution to run those distances.
Yes.
That's amazing. Very, very impressed with your ability to focus and run those long distances. Did you have any personal highlights through your running career?
I think that my highlight would probably be I've been injured a lot. I got terrible injuries in college. My sophomore year, I stress fractured my tibia and I was out for 3 months and then had a terrible time coming back, trying to run on my newly healed bone. So it took me probably about 8 months total to get back into the sport. And then with COVID, it kind of like hit my next season. So I wasn't able to compete. But I think that although it was really sad I didn't get to compete, that time of not competing and just getting in miles and building a really strong base created like this amazing opportunity for me to perform even better than I was before the injury, just because I had more opportunity to train and to like heal my body completely.
Wow, that's really a great story that illustrates your resilience. Thank you for that. That's awesome. Well, we're going to have to get on to Miranda here eventually because she's waiting so patiently. But I just want to talk briefly about your graduation. You graduated with a double major, a Bachelor of Science in Spanish, which is a bit unusual for us Canadians to hear, but that's unique. And a couple of really smart ladies on the call today. Bachelor of Science in Product Design Engineering Technology. What is that about?
So basically, product design engineering is you take an existing product or a product that doesn't exist already, and you find ways to make the product work better, or just work in general. And then once you've created the idea, found how to make it work in a good way, you figure out how to manufacture it at the best cost and most environmentally friendly. And then you see how it works in the world. And if it doesn't work, then you go back to square one.
Wow. So you're in that field today as we speak. That's amazing.
Yep.
Before we move on here, I just want to highlight that you graduated some Latin words that I've never heard before. I'm just a dumb guy. Summa cum laude. Now I've heard of magna cum laude, which is graduating with a great distinction. But I understand that the summa cum laude is one level higher. What is that?
I don't actually know what it is. I know what my GPA was, but I think that you have to graduate with above a 3.9 to be summa cum laude.
And in my research, it varies by school, but yeah, it's almost 4.0, and it's the highest distinction. So it's greater than magna cum laude. So congratulations on that, and having a wonderful school career. Same question for you, Miranda. From the beginning until now, tell us about your journey in sport leading to where you are currently.
Okay, well, mine is a little bit different from Abigail because I only played soccer growing up. I have 2 older sisters who also play soccer, so I was always like so excited to go to their games, and then at halftime like sprint onto the field and like shoot the ball like at the goal with my friends. So yeah, I guess I've always kind of like had soccer in my life in that sense. So it just was like a natural decision to get involved in house league when I was little, and then work my way up to rep to eventually pursue soccer during university. So that's what I'm doing now at U of T.
Wow, long journey with soccer. So do you feel like you owe some of that to your older sisters?
Oh my gosh, 100%. they definitely paved the way for me and have been my coaches growing up, essentially.
Wonderful. Part of our program, Girls in Sports, many young girls don't have somebody to look up to. And
Right.
so this is a big part of our program, but it's wonderful to hear that you had such great mentors
Yeah, it was
growing
such a
up.
blessing.
So midfield striker, little challenge in my soccer knowledge. I'm a volleyball guy, so a midfield striker, but you're also the team captain for the University of Toronto Varsity Blues. I said that correctly.
Yep.
And now I guess you're heading into your 5th year.
Mhm. Yes.
Great. Now you also played a couple of years in the NCAA. How did that go?
I did. I played at the University at Albany for my first 2 years. It was a lot of fun. It was definitely a good experience. It was nice, like meeting new people and living in a different city, but I found myself like just way too attached to home in Canada. So after a season of like not really getting everything that I wanted out of it, I kind of put more time towards my family and more time towards school and realized that I really wanted to come back home. So Toronto is only about an hour away from where my parents live. So it was a pretty easy decision to come back here.
There you go. Home is where the heart is, and turned out to be a really good decision for you. Your last full year, you co-led the team with 7 goals and had the most goals, 6 goals in the postseason. And there's a lot of highlight reels out there around your play. That must be very gratifying for you.
Yeah, it's nice like being in a team sport too. Obviously, like in something like cross country or track, there's more pressure on yourself to be the best. And while you have your teammates to be around, sometimes if you might feel like you're kind of on your own island. Abigail, I don't know if you could agree with that, but with soccer, it's kind of just like a second family, and it's nice like celebrating together, even sometimes losing together. But yeah, it's really nice.
Great. Well, we've been having some interest in you, Miranda, in particular from some soccer organizations for some mentorship opportunities. So we really look forward to getting you involved in that aspect of the program. Wow, you're also a very smart lady. I'm a little humbled here. You have a Bachelor of Science already at the U of T, is that correct?
I have not completed my degree yet, no.
Still working on that, but you are working on immunology and molecular genetics.
Yes.
What is that?
Honestly, great question. So immunology is basically like how our immune system works, which has been a pretty interesting topic with this past year. And then molecular genetics is just kind of looking at our body from a more molecular level, like looking at our DNA and how it can affect who we are and how it can make us up. So yeah.
Good answer. I put you on the spot there, didn't I?
Yeah, honestly.
Great. Tell us about your nickname.
Moo, that
Moo.
one?
Yeah.
Honestly, I have no idea where it came from. It was my sister's doing, but yeah, it's kind of funny. My sisters are Shaylee and Juliana, so I'm Moo, Shaylee is Shoe, and Juliana is Jew.
So
I guess that was just how it was.
Yeah, it's just a thing and it stuck.
Yeah, it stuck. I don't know.
That's amazing. Well, I've had some nicknames over the years that I didn't want to stick, so it's I'm glad you're happy with it.
Yes.
Just back to Abigail now. Abigail, you've in your new career, you've relocated to Portland, Oregon, so not too far south of Vancouver, and you also have a bit of a passion for drawing.
Yes.
Do you want to tell me about your character that you like to draw?
Stu, the cat.
Stu the cat.
Yeah, it actually just like came up before my cat that I have now. His name is Stuart. And I think that he has a lot of characteristics of Stu the cat, because they're both just curious little guys. And I have been in love with art and drawing for as long as I can remember. So that's kind of why I went into design. But yeah.
Wonderful. I've seen some of your graffiti art. It's pretty cool, and even some sculptures there of your favorite kind of runners, Converse. We call them runners in Canada. Sorry, sneakers.
Yeah.
Converse sneakers, and yeah, there's a little bit of talent there. We'll make sure we put your Stu the Cat Instagram link into the notes for the show here, so people can check that out, because there are a lot of drawings of Stu the Cat. It's quite a passion. It's pretty cool to see. So yeah, down in the notes, we're going to have the link for that. Also, for the viewers, we invite you to check out our website as well as our Facebook and Instagram page. Please link to that, because we are doing these monthly panels monthly, and we want to get you involved. We want questions coming from our viewers, and maybe we'll even have you on the call coming up for a future panel. Now, Abigail, you mentioned injuries. How has that affected the way you view your work today? The injuries and the barriers that you had to break through.
I feel like with my first injury, I was like, okay, whatever, like I'll just, what we do as a runner when you get injured, you just do cardio, which comprises of the elliptical, biking, or swimming in place of running. And so I was just like, whatever, I'll do cardio for a couple months and then I'll be back running and it's fine. The second injury I got, I kind of went about it the same way, but I took a step back. I didn't take cardio as seriously as I had the time before. And I almost think that was a good thing, because it forced me to focus more on like finding the right nutrients for my body and not really caring like, oh, I'm not burning as many calories because I'm not exercising as much. But I was like, that doesn't matter. Like, the only way I'm going to heal is if I eat the right foods and stuff. So I think that with my injuries, I learned more about nutrition and fueling my body. And when I start feeling bad, or like I have a little like ache or pain somewhere, I'll take a day off and it's not a big deal.
It's important to be able to keep perspective when you're dealing with adversity in these sorts of situations. And are you still training today?
Yes, I am. I currently am not signed up for any races. I just completed 2 in the past month. I won both of them, so that was kind of exciting.
It is.
But yeah, I'm just kind of like figuring out where I want to go from here, because I've been training for the 5K for a while now, but I'm thinking I might want to bump it up to the 10K.
Oh, wonderful. And I've seen some of the training grounds. We've posted a video up on our website as well, up on our Facebook. Some winter, some summer, and some pretty high mountainous trails. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Let's move back to Miranda now. Miranda, sort of a similar question about adversity in your sporting life. Have you ever been cut from a team? Have you suffered injuries? And do you recall any of the steps that you took to regain your confidence leading up to your return to play?
I, knock on wood, I have not had an injury that has been devastating like that. But in terms of being cut for a team, I remember when I first tried out for rep, I was cut and I played on the B team for a year. And I remember my mom said like, oh, like, would you want to be just an average player on the A team, or would you rather be a star on the B team? And that kind of stuck with me, because she did have a valid point. Like, I think that year for me did a lot in terms of building my confidence as a player, even as just like I was probably 10 at the time. It really helped motivate me and get me into a place where I could be on the A team next year, and I could be one of the top players in the A team, because I wanted to work for that. I guess in another sense, more recently, when I played at the University at Albany, I played a lot my first year, but with a lot of new faces coming in my second year, I kind of just found myself on the bench more times than not. So then that kind of like took a hit to my confidence. But I think that in turning to things outside of my sport, like school or like my friendships or stuff like that, there's ways to rebuild my confidence in other ways. And I guess deciding that I wanted to take a step away from the NCAA and come back to Canada and be in youth sports, it helped me that I already had this confidence from school and from my relationships with other people, that I was able to come ready into the soccer season in Toronto with a pretty strong level of confidence that I was hoping to like pass along to my teammates as well. So yeah.
Great job being able to take the long view and realize that there are, other priorities in life just besides, not only sport.
Exactly.
Obviously, that's a big thing, but that's great. Thank you for recounting your journey there. That's amazing. We've all been on a journey the last 18 months. So timestamp this, we're July 2021. But let's talk a little bit about the last year and a half. Obviously, each of you has persevered through some pretty difficult challenges. We all have sport programs being canceled. I guess we'll throw that to you first, Abigail. In your final year of school, we had a pandemic happening, and that must have been really challenging and frustrating for you. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey through this, your challenges, and maybe some advice, what helped you to stay on track?
So I actually was supposed to graduate 2020, and I had been applying to jobs. I didn't have anything lined up. I was kind of like panicked because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't really want to move home. So, and everybody thought that I was leaving. But I changed my minor in Spanish into a major, and I had a meeting with my coach. I said, I really want to stay for another year because I don't think I have things quite figured out. And I think that that was an okay decision to make because I ended up having a really great last year, even though it was a pandemic. Like, I think it just brought my team closer together because we were all very much struggling. Running is a mental sport, and trying to run 55 miles a week when you don't really have a goal in mind. Like, usually your goal is like, okay, well, we have a meet next weekend, so I'm training for that meet, but we weren't training for anything. So running 55 miles a week with no goal in mind, and you're running in snow and rain and waking up at 6 a.m. to get 10 miles in is really hard on you. But I knew, and my teammates knew, that we always had each other to wake up to. And we were doing the same thing every day with each other. So even though it was hard, I wasn't doing the hard stuff alone. And I think that that just makes you a stronger person too. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Great answer. And really, really nice to hear you were able to lean on your teammates in that way during that time. Awesome. And yeah, you got another year of school out of it.
Yeah.
For you. Yeah, well, it goes to show we have, lots of, junctions or T's in the road. We need to choose which way to go. It's not always obvious, the choices that we need to make, but we look back and we often made the right one. Good for you. Same question over to you, Miranda.
So I guess this past year has looked kind of similar to what Abigail was saying for us. I feel like our team is pretty widespread across Canada. So a lot of Zoom meetings, a lot of Zoom workouts, and it was definitely easy to just like hate it because there's only so much motivation you can have when it's just you and a screen. And I think that as a team, we have been doing our best to motivate each other and to get everyone involved in the best capacity that we can given the circumstances. But we've been able to start training together recently, which has been so exciting. It's been weird because only, I guess, last week we were allowed to start in contact. So before it was like seeing all of our friends, but we would be like 6 feet apart and be like, oh my God, hi, like I haven't seen you in over a year, but not getting to hug them or anything. But with contact now, we can actually like tackle each other. You can give hugs too. But yeah, it's been a really weird year.
It must feel like a breath of fresh air to be able to get those masks off and to be able to embrace your teammates again.
Yes, definitely a breath of fresh air.
I'm a coach in volleyball, and we haven't been able to high five anybody for a year and a half. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the group hugs after each point and being able to see the expressions on their faces again. That's really something. Thank you for that answer. It's been difficult for everyone, but you know, in the life of a young person, a year and a half is a long, long time, and it's important to hear your sentiments around this time that we've all gone through. Thank you for that. All right, last question. We're going to wrap up pretty soon here, but I want to know from each of you, do you have advice to give young girls currently engaged in sport or thinking about getting into sport, getting back into sport? We have a lot of girls that were in sport and now are considering if they want to take it up again. And the survey results are not promising. A lot of girls are dropping sport right now. Do you have any advice for girls to keep them engaged? Abigail?
My advice would be, don't be afraid to go out there and not be good at what you're doing. When I started running, I was not good at it. I don't think anybody who's new to the sport of running is like an amazing runner. Even if you have a ton of talent, you have to train for it. And like, nobody's going to make fun of you if you're not great, because it's really hard. And any sport is really hard. You have to like train to be good. And when you are good, like, and when you start getting better at what you're doing, it feels so good. So like, it's definitely worth taking the time, getting out there, maybe embarrassing yourself a couple of times, but like having fun while you're doing it.
Awesome. Don't take yourself too seriously, and try to enjoy the ride. I like that. Thanks. Miranda?
I would definitely say the same thing. Like, if you were in a position where you were in sport, you took a year and a half off, and you're debating getting back into it, it must have been hard, like maintaining, like being encouraged to like get back into it. But I think that given like the experiences that I've grown up with getting to meet like essentially like second families all around, so many like lifelong friends that I've made through soccer, I think that it's definitely worth it, especially while like maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Like, yeah, and I couldn't imagine my life without sport. I'm sure Abigail can say the same. So I would definitely recommend getting into a sport at whatever capacity you can.
Wonderful, and a wonderful recommendation. You know, it goes without saying that the successful athlete translates into a successful person in life, and keeping girls engaged in sports is definitely predicts a positive future for us. And thank you for your sentiments on that. That's going to wrap it up for today. I want to really thank our special guests today, Abigail Johnson and Miranda Badovinac. Please check the links below. Please get involved. Please get engaged with girls in sports. And we have our next mentor panel coming up on August the 7th. And we hope to see you there, perhaps live. Thank you so much, Abigail and Miranda, for joining us today.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Stop the recording.